The wind howled across the red plains of the alien world. Cold air brushed against dry, cracked stone. Above, 2 moons floated in the sky, silent, watching. Eli Carter stood alone beside the wreckage of his scout ship. He was a human explorer, a supply runner. But after a mechanical failure mid-flight, his ship had come crashing down now. 3 days had passed. His radio was dead. His rations were almost gone. The water purifier gave out hours ago, and there was no sign of rescue. He had set up a small camp near a rock wall to block the wind. There was barely enough fuel for a cooking flame. Still, Eli took what he had left: 1 protein bar, a half canteen of water. As he sat by the weak fire, the loneliness wrapped around him like a cold blanket. He chewed slowly. He didn't want the meal to end. Then, something moved. At first, it was just a flicker of shadow near the trees. Then 2 small glowing eyes blinked from the darkness. They didn't shine like metal. They shimmered like soft amber, full of hunger and fear. Eli froze. He reached slowly for his small plasma pistol, resting beside his boot. But the creature didn't attack. It crept forward on shaky legs. It was small, covered in striped fur with silver patterns, big ears, long tail, and ribs so sharp you could count them. It looked like a cub, an alien baby. Eli didn't move. He knew alien wildlife could be unpredictable. But this one, it looked so thin, so weak, so close to death. The cub whimpered once. Its eyes met his. In that moment, something changed. Eli reached into his pack, pulled out the last half of his protein bar. He broke off a small piece. "Here, little guy," he whispered. "I guess you need it more than me." He placed the food on the ground and backed away slowly. The cub looked at him, then at the food, then back at him. Silently, it stepped forward and sniffed it. Then it grabbed the bar with its small jaws and started eating. Eli watched, still unsure if this was a trap, but nothing happened. The cub finished eating, licked the ground where crumbs remained. Then, for a moment, it just stared at him, its golden eyes calm, almost thankful. And then, without a sound, it turned and ran back into the woods. Eli sighed. He wasn't sure what he had just done. Fed a wild animal. Broken a survival rule. Still, something about it felt right. He looked up at the alien sky and closed his eyes. Time passed. The fire dimmed. He leaned against a stone and tried to rest. Then the ground shook, not like a quake, not like falling rocks, but like something. Walking. Heavy, steady, powerful. Eli sat up, heart racing. He reached for his pistol again. The trees swayed in the distance. Then something large moved between them. The cub appeared first. It stepped from the shadows into the moonlight. This time it wasn't alone. Behind it came a creature so graceful, so terrifying, that Eli forgot to breathe. She stood taller than any human. Her body was built like a panther, but upright like a warrior. Stripes of silver ran along her black skin. Her eyes were sharp, focused, glowing with an inner fire, and her gaze was locked on Eli. She moved forward slowly, silent, deadly. Her shoulders rolled like liquid muscle. The cub stood between them now. It didn't seem scared. Eli gripped his pistol, unsure if he should raise it. But he didn't. He just stared. The tall tigress-like alien stopped only a few steps away. She looked at the cub, then back at Eli. She didn't speak, but something passed between them, a wave of energy, a feeling, a deep, quiet message. He had fed her child. Now, she had come for him, but not with claws, not with fury, with something else. Something far more dangerous, something far more beautiful. The fire crackled once, the wind paused, and the two of them, human and alien, stood beneath the stars, watching, waiting, and knowing that nothing would ever be the same. Eli stood still. The wind moved through the trees, brushing his face, but his body refused to move. The tall alien tigress stood before him, eyes locked onto his. Her gaze held no anger, no rage, only silence. She was unlike any creature Eli had ever seen. Feline in shape, but human in presence. Fur, smooth and dark. Muscles sharp under her skin. Her long tail moved slowly behind her, swaying like it had a mind of its own. The cub walked to her side and purred softly. She looked down at it, then back to Eli. Her lips did not move, but suddenly he felt something inside his head, a soft, warm voice, calm, deep, female. "You fed my child." Eli stepped back, unsure if he was imagining it. His hand tightened around his pistol, still hanging by his side. The voice returned. "You gave him food, even when you had none." He swallowed hard. "I didn't do it for a reward." His voice cracked slightly. The alien took one step forward. Her eyes glowed brighter. The cub remained still beside her, like a silent guardian. Many beings would have chased him away, or killed him, but not you. The way she looked at him made Eli feel seen, not as a threat, not even as a stranger, but as someone who mattered. "I'm Eli Carter," he said quietly. He lowered his weapon. "I crash-landed here 3 days ago. I don't know how much longer I can survive." She tilted her head, then stepped even closer. He could smell her now, warm, earthy, and faintly sweet. Her fur glistened in the moonlight. She was terrifying, but beautiful. "I am Kylara," the voice said, "matriarch of this region, mother of the one you saved." Eli nodded slowly. Kylara looked down at her cub, then back at him. He could feel her analyzing him, reading him like a book. "I wasn't trying to start anything," Eli added. "I just, saw someone hungry. I know what that feels like." There was a pause, then Kylara extended one clawed hand, open, not threatening. "Come with me, you are owed protection, and more." Eli blinked. "What do you mean, more?" Her voice was soft. "A life saved must be repaid. You gave without asking. Now you are one of us." The cub rubbed against his leg gently, like a thankful cat. Eli looked down, surprised. His heart warmed. He had been alone for so long. Now this alien family was opening a door he didn't expect. Maybe, just maybe, he wasn't doomed here. He took a deep breath, then took her hand. Her claws were sharp, but her grip was gentle. Warmth flowed from her skin into his. Kylara turned and began walking. Her tail flicked once, brushing lightly against his arm, a teasing touch. Eli followed her, not out of fear, but curiosity, and something else. Attraction. They moved through the alien jungle together. The trees glowed softly. Strange flowers opened under the moonlight. Kylara didn't speak, but every now and then she looked back at him, and her eyes said more than any words could. She was strong, she was proud, but somewhere inside there was loneliness too. After an hour, they reached a hidden valley, green, alive, full of light and movement. Creatures watched them from the shadows, but none dared approach Kylara. This was her land, and now it was Eli's too. She led him into a cave, walls glowing with soft crystals. It wasn't dark. It felt like home. She motioned for him to sit. He did. Then she sat beside him, close, the cub curled up in his lap. He smiled and stroked its fur gently. Kylara watched his hand. Her eyes narrowed, thoughtful. Then she spoke again, into his mind. "You are strange, human. You act with kindness, even when dying. Why?" He looked at her, paused, then said, "Because someone once saved me too. I never forgot how it felt." She leaned in slightly. So close now, he could see tiny silver patterns in her eyes. "Do all humans risk their lives for strangers?" Eli gave a half smile. "Only the good ones." Kylara purred softly. a deep sound, not of anger, but interest. She stood slowly. Rest, Eli Carter. You are not prey anymore. Not here, not with me. She walked toward the cave entrance, her silhouette framed by starlight. Before stepping outside, she paused. Without turning, she added, "Sleep well, human. You've started something you may not be ready for." Then she vanished into the night. Eli looked down at the sleeping cub in his lap. His heart beat slower now, calmer, but his mind was racing. He had fed a hungry child, and now, her mother had come for him, and this was only the beginning. The alien sun rose slow and golden. Its light slipped through the trees, casting soft patterns on the cave wall. Eli woke up to the sound of soft breathing. The cub still slept on his chest, curled up like a warm ball of fur. His body was sore, from sleeping on stone, but it wasn't pain that woke him, it was peace. For the first time in days, he hadn't dreamt of crashing ships or dying alone. He had dreamt of her.ca. Single quotes, Lara, strong, mysterious. Her voice still echoed in his mind. Her words had not faded. You've started something you may not be ready for. Eli ran a hand through his tangled hair, then gently moved the cub off his chest. It didn't wake. Outside the cave, strange birds called in soft rhythms. Colorful vines danced in the breeze. Everything about this place felt alive. He stepped out and saw her. Kylara stood on a high rock, staring across the valley. Her back was to him. The sun lit her figure in gold. Her fur shimmered like polished obsidian. Her tail moved slowly, as if sensing his presence before he made a sound. He didn't say anything, just walked closer. She didn't turn. You slept lightly, human. Her voice was still in his mind, warm, steady, feminine. He stood beside her, breathing in the wild scent of the jungle. I'm used to sleeping with one eye open. She finally turned to look at him. This close, he could see every line of her face, sharp jaw, high cheekbones, eyes that held stars inside them, that will not be needed here. He looked out over the valley. Is this your home? Kylara nodded. For now, our tribe moves, but this place, is sacred. Birds flew overhead. Small creatures ran below, too fast to name. Sacred? He asked. Long ago, she said. Our kind came here to escape war. This land accepted us. It gave us food, safety, and peace. We give it the same in return. Eli let that sink in. A planet once meant for survival. Now, a home. He understood that feeling. I could use some peace, he said, then looked at her. You seem like a warrior, but also like someone who's been alone for a long time. Kylara's eyes narrowed, not with anger, with thought. You read me too easily. He smiled gently. I've been alone too. Silence settled between them, not cold, not awkward, just full of something waiting to grow. She turned back toward the valley. Come, there's more you must see. They moved through the jungle, side by side. She walked with purpose, silent and graceful. He followed, stepping over glowing roots and strange stones. The cub soon joined them, darting between trees like it had never been weak. Other creatures watched from the shadows. Eli could feel it, eyes on him, curious, maybe cautious, but not hostile. Kylara noticed his glance. They smell you. They sense your bond with the cub. You are no longer just a stranger to them. They reached a clearing. At its center was a wide spring. The water glowed blue, lit from deep below. Kylara stepped in first. The water rose to her waist. She turned to face him. This is where I bring only those I trust. Eli hesitated, then stepped in. The water was warm. It hugged his skin like a living thing. He moved closer. She watched him. Their eyes locked. He spoke softly. Why did you really bring me here, Kylara? She didn't blink, Because you remind me of something I thought I had lost. What's that? Hope. His heart beat faster. There it was again. That hidden crack in her armor. That soft light behind her eyes. He took a step closer. She didn't stop him. I don't know what's happening between us, he said, but I don't want it to stop. Kylara leaned forward, just enough, that her face was inches from his. Neither do I. They didn't kiss. Not yet. But the air between them pulsed with something new, something real. Then, without warning, the sky shifted. A deep hum echoed above them. Eli looked up through the clouds, a flash of silver. Metal dot, a human ship. Military class. His eyes widened. He stepped out of the water fast. Kylara followed him. Her fur rose. Her tail snapped behind her. Asterisk, asterisk, what is it? She asked. Eli's voice was tense. That's not a rescue. That's a patrol ship. And there, scanning. Asterisk, asterisk. Kylara stepped in front of him protectively. The cub hid behind her legs. Asterisk, asterisk. Will they bring danger? She asked. Eli nodded. If they see you, if they know about your kind, they won't ask questions. They'll come with weapons. Asterisk, asterisk. She stared into the sky, eyes burning. Then let them come. Her voice turned sharp, powerful, full of ancient strength. But Eli knew. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about them, about what they were becoming. And someone out there might want to tear it all apart. Night fell again on the jungle world. The moons rose, full and glowing. One red, one silver. Together, they lit the valley in a soft, dreamlike light. Eli stood near the edge of the glowing lake. He stared at his reflection. Tired eyes, messy hair, a thin scar above his brow. But what really caught his attention was how different he felt. He was no longer just a stranded human. He was something more, connected to this world, connected to her. Behind him, Kylara moved silently. But he felt her presence, the way the air warmed, the way his skin tingled when she came near. She stood beside him without speaking. She rarely used words, but her presence always spoke louder than language. The cub played nearby, splashing gently in the water. Safe, happy, alive, because of Eli. Kylara looked out over the water. Her voice entered his mind again. The ship has not returned, but it will. Eli nodded. They saw something. I know how they work. They'll be back, with more eyes, more weapons. She looked at him. Will they take you? His voice was soft. I don't know. He paused. But I won't let them take you, or the cub. Kylara's gaze softened. She moved a step closer. Her fur brushed his arm. You speak like one of my kind. Eli turned to face her fully. Her face was so close now, eyes glowing with the reflection of twin moons. Her jaw was strong, her lips slightly parted. He raised a hand slowly, paused, unsure, but Kylara didn't stop him. She leaned in, let his hand rest against her cheek. Her fur was soft, warmer than he imagined. She closed her eyes and leaned into his touch. No one has touched me like this in many seasons, Eli whispered. Maybe no one was brave enough. She opened her eyes. A flicker of emotion moved across her face. Longing, curiosity, fear. Not of him, of feeling something she thought was lost forever. We are not the same, she said. Different blood, different stars. We are not meant to bond, but we already did, Eli replied. He stepped even closer. I feel you in my dreams, in my thoughts. And when I look at the cub, I see both of us there, two worlds touching in one small heartbeat. Kylara inhaled sharply, then let it out slow. She looked at his lips. He looked at hers. And this time, she moved first. Her lips touched his. Not with hunger, but with care, with weight. With everything she couldn't say out loud, Eli returned the kiss. His arms wrapped gently around her waist. Her claws rested lightly on his chest, but didn't scratch. It was slow, breathless. Their bodies not just touching, but learning each other. Not just human and alien, but two souls that had found something rare. When they finally pulled apart, the jungle was silent. Even the wind had paused. Kylara rested her forehead against his. "If they come for us," she whispered, "then we face them together." Eli smiled. No more running, no more hiding. Suddenly, the cub let out a low growl, not playful, alert. Kylara turned. Eli followed her gaze. A red dot moved across the trees. A scout drone had vanished behind the canopy, but they had seen enough. Kylara's voice turned sharp. "They found us." Eli reached for his gear, heart pounding, mind racing. But as he moved, Kylara placed a hand on his arm. Firm, calm. "Do not panic. They may come in numbers, but this is our land. I know every route, every shadow." Eli nodded. Adrenaline surged, but not fear. Not this time. He looked at her. The tigress, the mother, the warrior, and now, something more. He had kissed a creature from another world, and she had kissed him back. Not because of duty, not because of debt, but because they were falling for each other. And whatever came next, they would face it together. The sun barely rose. Gray light filled the jungle, cold, still. Tense. Eli stood with Kylara near the edge of a high ridge. Below them, the trees swayed gently, but above, the sky told a different story. A human ship hovered far in the clouds. Silent, watching. They weren't hiding anymore. Kylara narrowed her eyes. "They are searching." Eli nodded. "They saw the drone feed. They know there's intelligent life down here." Kylara turned to him. "Will they speak or shoot?" Eli didn't answer right away, because he knew the truth. And it hurt to say they won't ask questions. If they think your kind is a threat, they'll capture or destroy first. Study later. Kylara's claws flexed. She looked down at her cub, who stood close beside her. "Then we leave." But Eli shook his head. "No. If we run, they'll follow. And if they catch us, they won't just take you." He looked into her eyes. "They'll use the cub, turn him into a weapon, or an experiment." Kylara's face went cold. Her tail froze. "No one touches my child." Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. "We have one chance. Let me talk to them. Let me try to buy us time. Maybe I can make them stand down." Kylara looked at him. Her voice entered his mind again. "Will they trust you?" He hesitated. "I don't know. But I used to fly with that fleet. I know their code, their language. If they hear me, they might pause before pulling the trigger." She stared hard at him. "And if they ask you to betray me?" Silence. Heavy, bitter, real. Eli's voice was quiet. "I won't." Kylara turned away. She didn't reply. Hours later, Eli stood alone in a clearing. He had activated his distress beacon. A small black cube blinked red in the grass above. The human patrol ship slowly descended. Its engines hummed like thunder. A voice crackled from the sky. "Unidentified survivor, identify yourself." Eli stepped forward. "Lieutenant Eli Carter, Scout Class, Serial for 1, to Beta." A pause. Then, "Lieutenant Carter, you've been marked missing for 6 days. How are you alive?" Eli looked up. "I was helped. Taken in by local life forms, intelligent, peaceful." Another pause. "Longer this time. Lieutenant, are you under threat? Do you require extraction?" Eli's heart raced. He closed his eyes. "No, I'm not under threat, but I'm not alone." He explained everything. Not in full detail, but enough. That the alien life forms had saved him. That they were not dangerous. That he had formed a bond with one of them, and then he said it. Clear, calm, true. "I fell in love with one of them." Silence. Then the voice returned. Cold now. "Lieutenant Carter, you are ordered to remain in place. Do not move." Extraction. Team inbound. He knew what that meant. They weren't coming to help. They were coming to collect. Eli returned to the cave with heavy steps. Kylara waited near the fire. The cub curled against her. She didn't look up when he entered. He sat across from her. "They're coming," he said. "They want to take all of us." Her jaw tightened, eyes still locked on the flames. "You told them about me." He nodded slowly. "I tried to protect you, but I had to speak. I couldn't lie. Not to them, not to you." She finally met his eyes, and what he saw there broke him. Not anger, not rage, but pain, deep, quiet, crushed pain. "I trusted you." He stood. "Kylara, I didn't betray you. I risked everything to buy us time, to stop them from attacking. I thought I could reach them." She stood too. Her tail whipped once. The cub looked up, sensing the tension. "You speak of love, but you still call them us and me them." Her words hit like a knife. "I gave you sanctuary. I gave you my child. I gave you myself." Eli stepped forward. "I love you. That hasn't changed." She took a step back. "Then why does it feel like goodbye?" A long silence followed. The fire between them crackled softly. Then she turned away. "If they come for me, I will not run, and I will not let them take my child." Eli's voice cracked. "Kylara, please." But she was gone, out into the jungle, into the dark. Eli stood alone, breath shallow, heart breaking. He looked down at the cub, now walking toward him. The little one rubbed against his leg. Gently. Eli dropped to his knees, held the cub tight. "I'm sorry, little one," he whispered. "I never meant to lose her." Above, the sky rumbled again. Engines, closer now, and Eli knew he had one last chance to make it right. The human ship hovered above the trees. Its engines were quiet now, but the sky throbbed with its presence. Like a silent warning, like a blade waiting to fall. Eli stood near the jungle's edge. The cub clung to his side, tail curled tightly around his arm. Behind them, the glowing cave still flickered with warmth, but it no longer felt like a home. It felt like a memory. A shadow moved. Leaves parted. Kylara stepped out from the trees. She looked like a storm in motion. Her silver-black fur rippled in the wind. Her claws were out. Her eyes glowed, not with rage, but with purpose. Eli turned to face her, but she didn't speak. She walked straight past him, standing tall between him and the sky. Then the drop pod landed. It came down fast, hard, crushed brush beneath it. The door hissed open. 3 humans stepped out. 2 soldiers, 1 officer. Their rifles gleamed under the alien sun. The officer, a man with sharp eyes and a colder voice, stepped forward. "Lieutenant Carter." Eli didn't salute, didn't speak. He just stood still. The officer looked Kylara up and down. "She's more than we expected." Kylara didn't. She didn't need to understand their language. She could read their eyes. They saw her as property, as a target, as something less. The officer raised a hand. "We're here under Directive 7. Unknown intelligent species must be secured and quarantined." He nodded toward Kylara and her offspring. Eli stepped in front of them. "No." The officer's eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" Eli raised his voice. "You're not taking them." One of the soldiers raised his rifle. Kylara's claws extended instantly. The cub growled, a sound far deeper than before. A low hum began to rise from its chest. The air around them shimmered. Eli saw the pulse building. He stepped between the cub and the soldiers. "She's not a weapon, neither is her child. They saved my life. They protected me." The officer spoke flatly. "You've gone native? This is not your call anymore." Eli looked back at Kylara. Her eyes held no fear, only trust. He turned back. "It's my call, because I made it. I chose to stand with her." The officer gave a slow nod. "Fine." He signaled the soldiers. sedate them, secure the cub, kill the man if he resists. Eli reached for his sidearm. To slow the soldiers raised their rifles. But before the shots fired, the cub roared. A blast of light surged from its chest. A wave of blue energy. It knocked the soldiers off their feet. Their rifles sparked. Dead. The officer stumbled back, eyes wide. What the hell is that thing? Kylara stepped forward, voice in Eli's mind. He awakened. My child is more than flesh. He is a bridge. The cub stood tall now, no longer trembling, no longer weak. Its body glowed with pulsing lines of alien light. Eli looked at the officer. You don't understand. What's in front of you? This isn't something to study. This is the future. The officer reached for his sidearm. Kylara moved like lightning. She was on him before he drew. Claws pressed to his throat. But she didn't kill. She just stared into his eyes and made sure he understood. Eli placed a hand on her arm, softly. Don't. He's already lost. She released the officer. He fell back, gasping. The look in his eyes had changed. From command to fear. He scrambled to the pod, slammed the door, and lifted off, gone. The sky was quiet again, but the jungle still held its breath. Kylara turned to Eli. You stood with me. He nodded, chest rising with every breath. Always. She stepped closer, claws gone, hands gentle. The cub nestled between them, still glowing, still humming. Eli looked at her. Truly looked. You're not just a warrior, he whispered. You're my world now. Kylara touched his cheek. Then we protect it, together. And, beneath the alien sun, with the jungle as witness, a human, a tigress, alien, and their glowing child stood strong, unbroken, and full of fire. Days passed, then weeks. The sky above the jungle stayed quiet. The human ship never returned. No more drones, no more soldiers. Just peace. Eli stood on a cliffside, overlooking the valley. The wind moved gently through his hair. Beside him stood proud and still, and between them, their cub, glowing softly, curled around Eli's leg. The jungle had become home, but something new had begun. A small camp, built with alien stone and human steel. Half shelter, half nest, fully theirs. They called it New Eden. It wasn't just a place, it was a choice, a promise, a beginning. In the mornings, Eli taught Kylara about Earth. He described oceans, rain, snow. She listened with a quiet fire in her eyes. Fascinated, curious. She told him about the old ways of her people. The warrior bonds, the sacred hunts, the deep songs shared under the moons. Together, they created something between the two. Not her world, not his, but both. Each night, they sat by the lake. The cub chased fireflies with silent joy, and Eli would wrap an arm around Kylara, feeling her heart beat in time with his. I still don't understand how this happened, he said one evening, his voice soft. Honest. Kylara rested her head on his shoulder. You gave my child food, but you gave me something else. He looked at her. Her eyes shone in the moonlight. What did I give you? He asked. A reason to trust again. One day, a message arrived. A neutral beacon. It came from a private human vessel, not military. It spoke of peace. The galaxy had seen the drone footage, the glowing cub, the standoff, the moment Eli chose love over duty, and instead of fear, many felt something else. Hope. Ambassadors wanted to meet, not to capture, but to learn. Kylara agreed. On one condition, no cages, no chains. We are equals, or we are nothing. They accepted. Months passed. Ships came, peacefully. Scientists met with Kylara. Diplomats met with Eli. But what truly changed everything was the cub. He became a symbol, not of power, but of unity. The first of his kind, born from two worlds, a creature of light. He would sit on Eli's shoulders during meetings, glowing faintly, purring into his ear as if telling secrets. The humans smiled, the aliens bowed, and slowly, both sides began to dream of a shared future. But for Eli and Kailara, the world never changed too much. Not at the core, because what they built was never about politics, or treaties, or headlines. It was about a spark in the jungle, a small act of kindness, a shared silence, and a kiss under twin moons. One night, they stood once more beside the lake. The cub now ran faster, stronger. He chased the wind, and laughed. Eli wrapped his arm around Kailara's waist. She leaned into him. No fear, no walls, only love. You still think I'm strange? He asked, smiling. Kailara purred softly. Yes, but you are mine. Eli kissed her gently. The stars above sparkled, and somewhere deep in the jungle, life continued, wilder, softer, and more human than anyone had expected, because he fed a starving cub, and the universe gave him a queen, and together, they created a future